Hello, my name is Benjamin Leach, and this is my recording for the initiatives and referendums in Arizona assignment for topic 2 in the class POS 500 US and Arizona Constitutions for teacher candidates. Uh, just wanted to warn you in advance, I'm a little under the weather right now, so my voice is a little iffy, and I may cough a couple times over the course of the recording. I apologize in advance. Arizona is one of the few states in the United States that utilizes a system of direct democracy, or a system in which the citizens of the state have explicit control over the laws that govern them. Although Arizona still has a legislature and governor that determine laws and how they are enforced, their system of initiatives and referendums ensures that the citizens can approve or deny things like laws passed by the legislature, amendments to the Arizona Constitution, and even whether certain public officials can remain in office. An initiative is defined as a process in which citizens that are not part of the legislature can propose laws or constitutional amendments directly to the people by placing these propositions on the ballot for the next election. In contrast, a referendum is defined as a process in which citizens' opinions on a law can be gathered through voting on election ballots, allowing citizens to effectively veto laws and constitutional amendments proposed by the legislature. Now, initiatives, of which there are two subtypes, constitutional initiatives and statutory initiatives, are created very simply. A single citizen desiring to draft a new amendment or law must only fill out a form provided by the Arizona Secretary of State. Once the form is filed, it is distributed to the voters as a petition, and the measure must reach a certain number of signatures in order to be placed on the next ballot. For constitutional amendments, 15% of voters must support the initiative, and for laws, 10% of voters must support the initiative. After getting enough signatures, the initiative is placed on the next ballot as a proposition, where Arizonan voters can vote yes or no to determine if the amendment or law is enacted. In comparison, a referendum is introduced differently depending on what topic the referendum is covering. When the legislature is introducing a constitutional amendment, after both houses of the Arizona legislature approve the amendment, it is then sent as a referendum to the citizens as a proposition to be voted on in the next election. If the voters approve the amendment, it becomes part of the Constitution. For laws, the legislature can choose to refer the legislation to the voters as opposed to sending it to the governor. If they do so, it becomes a proposition on the next ballot, allowing the citizens to act as the veto power for the law instead of the governor. Finally, a popular referendum can be introduced by a petition of 5% of voters to kill a bill that has already been approved by the legislature. Now, initiatives and referendums are similar in many ways. First and foremost, they are avenues for citizens of the state to have a direct impact on the laws that govern them. Both processes end with the proposed change being placed as a proposition on the next election's ballot, and both can be used to further the agenda of different movements and parties, such as the progressive movement that helped put these processes on the Arizona Constitution. Where they differ is that initiatives are used to create new laws or amendments, or initiate these new laws, whereas referendums are used to block or reject laws or amendments proposed, by the legislature. Initiatives originate entirely from citizens, whereas referendums are typically brought up by the legislature. Now, supporters of initiatives and referendums point towards their power to help remove or counter the influence of wealthy special interests or lazy legislatures by allowing the citizens to have direct access to shaping the government and its laws. They also ensure that the government is more attentive to citizens' concerns, as legislatures that do not at least listen to citizens' concerns will see their legislation challenged through referendums more often. On the other hand, critics of initiatives and referendums will point out that citizens are not experts on how to write constitutional amendments or laws, and so the propositions may have legal flaws that would have been avoided if drafted by the legislature. In addition, these initiatives can be co-opted or exploited by wealthy interest groups, which of course they were meant to counter, or by outsiders seeking to forward an agenda not favored by most Arizona citizens. excuse me. In summary, initiatives and referendums are complex processes that are prone to certain weaknesses, but they have great benefit to the people of Arizona. The writers of the Arizona Constitution, many of whom were progressives, were tired of the traditional model of representative government of the federal government and other states, and wanted to ensure that the citizens of Arizona had a direct influence on the laws that govern them. While outside influence can warp a small group of legislators, towards passing an unpopular bill, the referendum can help to stop it in its tracks. When the legislature is not acting to fix an issue that's important to voters, an initiative can ensure that the problem is recognized by the people. While it's certainly not the same direct democracy that ruled over ancient Athens, these modern practices ensure that the people are directly involved in government in a similar way. Thank you for listening.